Hello, I'm Mantastic'c and Fantastic, and today I want to talk about the new updates that have just gone live in North America. So, the latest maintenance being finished, we have received buffs to existing cards granting additional monster experience when fused. So, this image that's kind of blocking my face, so to speak, on the left-hand side, it shows what the EXP values were for these cards pre-maintenance. And remember, these values here are just showing like the base value. If you fuse them on color, they receive a 50% increase. So just imagine like all these numbers are 50% higher because you should really be fusing on color. Like there's no reason not to fuse on color. And then the image on the right-hand side shows the after EXP value levels. And the biggest changes are regular snow globes are all worth 4 million base. There's no more silly shenanigans of like green being way more valuable than red, stuff like that. Along with little snow globes being 2 million instead of like 1.5-ish or so. And then a lot of like the small little dragons that were kind of worthless before, like they would have like 175,000 experience. Now they are 1.5 million for like the big kings, and then like the regular ones are 1 million. So like this is a huge increase in monster experience levels. So if you're like myself and you have potentially hundreds of those like smaller dinky things lying around, suddenly they have much value. What I would recommend is when you do fuse monsters in your monster or like enhanced material folder, always sort it by EXP value just so you can see what is worth the most. But in addition to that, we have various evolutions and upgrades for existing cards. So the biggest winners, I'd say, are the Wise Dragons. They definitely smartened up here, and it's their weapon assist form that is truly great. And this weapon assist form is going to follow the same template for each individual color. So what they're going to do is grant attribute changing for the sub-attribute through their first awakening for their respective colors. So the blue egg will obviously change the sub-attribute to blue, so on and so forth. And then 3 rows of that respective color. So for cards that, you know, like especially blob-based teams where they have like a different sub-attribute color, now you can give them an extra 15% damage output because this sub-attribute from the weapon assist gives 15% damage of whatever they were doing. So it can be a great way to bolster your damage output, and it's becoming just more accessible because more and more cards, you know, have this useful style awakening. And in fact, the active skill is actually meaningful. It gives you 5 times attack for the respective attribute for 3 turns, but the big aspect is 2 turns of haste. And in this day and age, haste is always a good thing. We need to transform stuff. Like, we just really need to transform things. So having 2 turns of haste is not really so much of a wasteful active skill, so to speak. It's something you're probably going to want to have. So being able to like squeeze in these these awakenings and having a useful active skill is quite meaningful. Like any team that does rely on utilizing rows can benefit from these weapon assists, and this applies for all the colors. And then for the Wise Dragons themselves, they did receive various buffs to like what they are in their evolved form, but in all honesty, I am not that impressed with their evolved forms. Like, sure, they're okay, but like I guess you could make the argument that they are 4 times effective health leaders, but the active skill is not something you want to have on a card. As an inherit, it's a good active skill because you're going to use it once, never again. Throughout a dungeon, if it's on your base card, it's unlikely that you're going to get much value from a haste partway through a dungeon when you've already transformed every single card. So I would definitely want to keep them as their weapon assist forms, and this is partially the reason why, like, say, Kingdom Collab has even potentially less value, because that unique aspect of giving these special types of awakenings is already coming out on a wide variety of cards, so their novelty is definitely losing traction overall. So again, the Wise Dragons are getting all these nice similar style of buffs and whatnot, but like as leaders, they are 2 color matches, and like the only one that I guess who has colors that could work are red blue, because it does exist as Seawolf, but I feel like it's just not quite so strong overall. And again, all the Wise Dragons are following a similar template pattern of like having that haste aspect in their active skill. Next is Hestia, and Hestia in her red form has a 10 combo and 3 crosses for skill boost, but it's now for 4 turns of attribute absorption cancellation. 4 turns is quite a long time, and I can definitely foresee like cards like this being utilized in dungeons where it's like no assists, because now we need to bring cards that actually have, you know, the useful base active skill. So Hestia might become a possible card there. She does have double 10 combo with her Super Awakening, so she can hit reasonably hard if her attack stat wasn't so low. For another form of Hestia, her red light form, she has basically no personal damage, which is obviously a bit of a problematic aspect. The active skill is no Skyfalls, 2.5 times RCV, changes Removes orb block, changes all orbs to firewood, light, and hearts. Like, I guess that's an active skill, but is it something that we really need? I don't really think so. Like, I guess you could argue that there's lots of skill boosts maybe, and like they have the L shield, so they could take the skill boost latent, but I don't think this is a card I really would want to bring anywhere. Tethys in her water form has gargantuan TPA damage output. That is 10 TPAs, ladies and gentlemen. Pretty crazy overall if water had, a TPA card to actually utilize them. But again, the active skill is 4 turns of attribute absorption cancellation, which is, pretty darn good overall. Problem is, I don't really quite know a good water-based team to use them on. For Tethys in her blue-green form, again, she has 10 combo, she has 4 TPAs, so it could be meaningful damage if we need to have that there. They do have the L shield, so I guess you can make arguments that they are a higher skill boost card. Their active skill gives you no Skyfalls, 2.5 times attack for water, and then removes orb blocks and makes the board of water, wood, dark, and hearts. Like, it's not really solving too much aside from RCV debuffs. Again, water TPA I don't quite think has too much value at this point in time. For Super Reincarnated Neptune Dragon, he's a great swipe leader overall when you really think about it, because he's got a brick, he's got 7 combos, he's got rows, he's got combo orb. His active skill when it evolves is a 3-turn cooldown that gives you a row of water orbs and an attack buff for himself as well as all other water cards. Problem is, his active skill doesn't necessarily make enough water orbs to create his combo or proccing, but maybe with other active skills in conjunction you can find a way, and it's still 26 times attack when your rarity is low enough, and it does have a respectable amount of damage reduction. Possibility could be there. His weapon assist has gained stats, and stats I guess are nice but not that impactful overall. Again, more stats. Odin Dragon has received a significant upgrade to his evolved active skill. It's now a 4 instead of 6 turn cooldown. So for a card that has 2 skill boosts here, 2 turns of haste. I believe they have skill boost plus through super awakenings. They can have the L shield, which means they get the skill boost super latent. They can have a monstrous amount of effective skill boost from this card. And then afterwards, they still have a great 4-turn full cleric active skill. So Odin Dragon is definitely much more useful than it used to be, simply because, the cooldown's lower, and the fact that it can take extra skill boost through a latent can be meaningful. Yomi Dragon, their active skill got buffed again to a 3-turn cooldown, removes the orb blocks, creates 6 dark and hearts, and then 2 times attack for all subs. It can be a possible option for like mono dark teams. They are double 10 combo, tons of crosses, a couple of L's. Like, it's not terrible by any means, but I feel like dark is reasonably saturated with strong cards overall, and those are all the buffs that are given. For myself, I am personally just most excited for the Wise Dragons and just the monster experience values being just much higher than they used to be. But with that being said, let me know what you think about this update in the comments down below. Which aspect gets you the most excited? But regardless of all that, hopefully you all have a truly fantastic day. I wish you all the best in your own pad adventures, and happy puzzling.